Welcome everyone, I'm Dale and this is Cinema Historia. A nightclub singer, a club owner's daughter, and the annual spring break. This week we're going back to 1965 for a romantic comedy called Girl Happy, starring Elvis Presley and Shelley Fabares. And this is directed by Boris Sagal. So, where does our story begin this week? Well, our story begins in snowy March at the 77 Club in Chicago. Rusty Wells and his combo have just finished their last performance, closing their engagement at the club. Rusty, played by Elvis Presley, and band members Doc, Andy, and Wilbur are getting ready to leave for their annual spring break trip to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Due to their ever-growing popularity, club owner Big Frank wants to extend their stay at the club, foiling the band's plans for some sun and fun in Florida. At the same time, Big Frank's daughter, college student Valerie, played by Shelley Fabares, also wants to take her spring break in Lauderdale with her two girlfriends, which worries her father to no end. Seeing this situation as an opportunity for him and the guys to make Lauderdale after all, Rusty suggests that Big Frank hire his band to make the trip as well, to look after Valerie and make sure she stays out of trouble. With Big Frank agreeing and paying all expenses, Rusty Wells and his combo arrive at the Seadrift Motel, Fort Lauderdale, just ahead of Valerie and her girlfriends. Easier said than done, Rusty and the guys struggle to keep womanizing Italian exchange student Romano away from Val. At the same time, Rusty has to keep explaining the situation to his date, a good-time girl named Dina, who has no patience for guys who stand her up. Deciding the only way to keep an eye on Val, Rusty and the guys have Val join the act at the local nightclub. Becoming a big hit at the club, she joins their act regularly. Rusty's watch over Val eventually leads to the two of them getting more acquainted, while leaving Dina out in the cold. So, does Romano and Dina persevere with their affections? Is it love and bloom at the Seadrift Motel? Or does someone reveal that Rusty is just a paid chaperone? Directed by three-time Emmy nominee Boris Sagal, this was Elvis Presley's 18th feature film. This film won a fourth place prize Laurel Award in the category of Top Musical of 1965. It featured the song Puppet on a String, reaching number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 3 on the Adult Contemporary chart and in Canada, and was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America. Variety called it another musical winner, a lightness of storyline, a dozen song numbers of pleasant fare, which Presley's fans have come to expect. Film critic Rotten Tomatoes audience reviews state this is a fantastic movie, full of great songs and a really funny adventure that's great for a rainy day. And last but not least, oh, that Elvis, probably not the most suitable spring break chaperone for your teenage daughter. Probably not. It's like putting the rooster in the henhouse. And our trivia question this week: was there a promising career for someone who starred in our film? Was there a promising career for someone who starred in our film? So a little more history and the answer to our trivia question coming up next. Now, since our film centers around spring break, that's the subject of this week's history. So it turns out the roots of spring break can be traced way back to the ancient Greeks. The Greeks like to blow off steam each spring with a 3-day awakening dedicated to Dionysus, the god of wine and fertility. But according to Time magazine, the origin of spring break can be traced back to Fort Lauderdale, Florida in the 1930s. Fort Lauderdale's reputation as a spring break destination for college students started when Colgate University men's swim team arrived to practice there over Christmas break in 1934. In 1936, one college coach decided to train his swim team in the city's new Olympic-sized swimming pool, the first one in Florida, which quickly led to a nationwide tradition for college swimmers. After a swim forum was established in 1938, swim teams gathered at this destination yearly, and soon the time and place began to grow in popularity. Attracting approximately 20,000 college students in the 1950s, spring break was still known as spring vacation and was relatively low-key affair. This began to change when Glendon Swarthout's novel Where the Boys Are was published in 1960, effectively ushering in modern spring break. Swarthout's 1960 novel was quickly made into a movie of the same title later that year, in which college girls meet boys while on spring break there. The number of visiting college students immediately jumped to over 50,000, and by the early 1980s, Fort Lauderdale was attracting between 250 and 350,000 college students per year during spring break. Residents of the Fort Lauderdale area pushed the local government to pass laws restricting parties in 1985, and at the same time, the National Minimum Drinking Age Act was enacted in the United States, requiring that Florida raise the minimum drinking age from 18 to 21. This inspired many college vacationers to travel to other competing locations in the United States for spring break. In the 1990s, the introduction of super clubs, MTV beach broadcasts, contests, and giveaways had created a mega industry. Each year, approximately 1.5 million US and Canadian students participate in spring break travel, including over 100,000 to Cancun, 115,000 to South Padre, and an estimated 175,000 to Daytona Beach annually. Just amazing. And the answer to our trivia question this week: was there a promising career for someone who starred in our film? Yes, and it was one of my favorite Elvis girls, Shelley Fabares, who plays Valerie Frank in our film. Shelley Fabares is the only woman who was Elvis Presley's love interest in 3 different films. This was the first in which she would play Elvis's leading lady. The 2 follow-ups, Spin Out in 1966 and Clambake in 1967, came soon after. She had been a regular as a daughter on the popular TV series The Donna Reed Show and had recorded the hit record Johnny Angel, which was knocked out of #1 spot in 1962 by Elvis's Good Luck Charm. She went on to appear in many films and TV series, most notably co-starring in the 1990s TV series Coach, for which she received 2 Emmy Award nominations. Just amazing. I'd like to give a big thank you to my new subscribers this week. Thanks very much. And for everyone else tuning in, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope to see you back next week.